Chris Ferguson received widespread recognition for all of his success in WSOP tournaments, even winning a coveted WSOP Main Event bracelet. However, his involvement with full tilt poker embroiled him in controversy and even forced him to disappear from the poker community entirely. Due to his association with the full tilt poker scandal, his reputation is destroyed in the eyes of millions despite his many accomplishments. Stick around while we look into who Chris Ferguson was and how exactly he was involved in one of the largest poker scandals of all time. Chris "Jesus" Ferguson was born on April 11, 1963 in Los Angeles, California. He grew up in a nice house in the suburbs of LA. Chris may have been destined to be a poker great as he was born into a very intellectual family. In fact, both of his parents had PhDs in mathematics. His father, Thomas, even taught at UCLA, focusing on game theory and theoretical probability. Chris himself earned a PhD in computer science from UCLA in 1989. This clearly had an impact on Chris's poker skills as his playing style is very mathematical and he's well known for using game theory at the poker table. He picked up the nickname Jesus due to his long hair and beard, but unlike Jesus, his trademark look involved a cowboy hat and sunglasses. That was his style for decades, and it wasn't just to hide his facial expressions, although it did just that, as many of his opponents considered him almost unreadable. But according to Ferguson, the reason he began his trademark look was because he began playing professionally when he was a teenager. His peaceful and quiet persona at the table not only aligned with his Jesus nickname, but also gave away very little to his opponents. Chris Ferguson spent over a decade at college studying under legendary UCLA professor Leonard Kleinrock, who is considered the father of the internet. But while he was at UCLA, he wasn't completely dedicated to his studies. Instead, he was focused on beginning his poker career. Although he was introduced to poker at age 10, it was during college that he realized that he could make a lot of money off of it. So, throughout his 20s, he earned his spending cash by playing live poker tournaments all over Los Angeles. Then, by the time he was in his 30s, his poker career took off. Throughout his career, Chris "Jesus" Ferguson was extremely successful and proved himself to be one of the best poker players in the world. At his peak, he reached 9th place in the all-time money list best rank and has over $9.5 million in total live earnings over the past 3 decades. During the 1990s, he really started to hone in his game and had many final table finishes with decent paydays. In fact, his first 6 WSOP cashes, he finished in the top 10. But it wasn't until 2000 when he finally hit it big. He won his first WSOP bracelet in 2000 in a $2,500 7-card stud tournament, winning $151,000, which was his biggest payday up to that point. But that paled in comparison to what he did 2 weeks later when he won the WSOP $10,000 No Limit Texas Hold'em Main Event, walking away with a cool $1,500,000. While that was his largest prize to date, he did win quite a few more poker titles. He won another WSOP bracelet in 2001 and followed that up 2 more in 2003. He wouldn't win another one until 14 years later, when he won the WSOP Europe 1,650 euros pot limit Omaha high-low 8 or better in 2017 to clinch his 6th WSOP bracelet. In addition to the WSOP bracelets, he also has 3 World Series of Poker circuit rings. One of his most significant achievements was when he was promoting full tilt poker and started his $0 to $10,000 challenge. His goal was to go from nothing to $10,000, starting with free rolls and using very strict bankroll management. While it took a bit of time to get the momentum going, he did manage to break out and reach his goal. He even continued on, never putting more than 5% of his bankroll on the table, and managed to build it up to $20,000 before the concluded the challenge. Although he had become a well-known poker pro, it wasn't until his involvement with Full Tilt Poker that he would go on to be infamous. In 2004, he helped launch Full Tilt Poker and worked to build Full Tilt Poker into a household name recognized in just about every major poker tournament. Players big and small would represent the brand, with some major players such as Phil Ivey, Tom Dwan, and Mike Matusow donning the famous Full Tilt logo. But on April 15th, 2011, that would all change. The U.S. Department of Justice brought down the hammer on Full Tilt Poker, shutting down the website and declaring it an illegal gambling business. Later, in September of 2011, Ferguson himself was named, as well as some fellow board members, in a civil complaint filed by the DOJ. The DOJ claimed that the leadership of Full Tilt Poker was operating a Ponzi scheme, using money deposited by customers to fund their business operations and pad their own pockets. At the time the site was shut down, it was discovered that the company did not have the resources to cover the money owed to players, but yet the company owners had given themselves millions in bonus payouts. Federal prosecutors claimed that Full Tilt Poker improperly used funds of online poker players to pay members of its board of directors, including Ferguson and fellow poker champ Howard Lederer, $440 million since April 2007. Preet Bharara, the U.S. attorney in Manhattan, said that Full Tilt was not a legitimate poker company, but a global Ponzi scheme. Customers of Full Tilt Poker were faced with the reality that they had all been duped by the Jesus of Poker and his business partners, and there was a very high probability they would never see a dime of the money they entrusted to Full Tilt Poker. But in a fortuitous turn of events, the DOJ agreed to allow Full Tilt to forfeit its assets and be acquired by PokerStars, who promised to pay back all the former Full Tilt Poker players who lost money. Eventually, PokerStars would keep their word and found a way to reimburse everyone affected by the Full Tilt Poker scandal. But the damage was done. Chris Ferguson's reputation would forever be tarnished by the events that unfolded that April in 2011. Even if they were eventually made whole again, those players who were ultimately swindled by Full Tilt Poker won't soon forget who was behind it all. Ferguson eventually reached a settlement with the DOJ and claimed no wrongdoing. He said he was unaware of what was going on until it was too late to do anything about it. After the Full Tilt scandal, Ferguson all but disappeared from the poker world. He played his last live event in September 2011 and then went underground. He didn't appear at another live event again until June 2016, when he showed up at a WSOP event in Las Vegas. His return was rather quiet, but he surprised everyone when he hit the WSOP circuit hard in 2017, playing dozens of tournaments and even won the WSOP 2017 Player of the Year title. Chris Ferguson finally addressed the Full Tilt Poker scandal in May of 2018 and issued an apology to the poker world. Here is what he had to say.
I'd like to take this brief opportunity to address the poker community, which I love and have been part of for a long time. I deeply regret not being able to prevent Black Friday from happening. After Black Friday, I worked relentlessly to ensure that all players got payback, and I sincerely apologize that it took as long as it did. I also realize that it has taken me a long time to make any sort of public statement, and I appreciate my fans and the poker community as a whole for their patience and support. One day the Full Tilt Poker story will be told, and like many of you, I look forward to that day. I hope to see you all at the World Series of Poker this summer. Thank you, and good luck.
While Chris Jesus Ferguson worked hard to create a peaceful persona at the poker table, his involvement in the Full Tilt Poker scandal is why he will go down as one of the most hated poker players to ever play the game. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and make sure to let us know which controversial poker star we should cover next.